There's something you feel but can't quite name. A quiet presence that lingers in the corners of your heart. The kind that visits only when the universe is trying to say something. The angels are leaning closer now. They speak softly. She still lives in his soul. Not as a memory, but as a mission. You were not just a fleeting moment in his story. You were the flame that refused to be extinguished. He felt it the first time he looked at you, like he had recognized your eyes across lifetimes. As if your voice was a melody he had forgotten, but his soul never did. You might think he has let go. That silence means indifference. But love woven by spirit does not perish in absence. It waits. It transforms. It grows roots in hidden places. He still remembers how your energy filled a room. Not loud. Not demanding. Just known. You didn't try to win him over. You didn't need to. The angels whisper, your love was the mirror he feared. Not because it lacked beauty, but because it revealed everything he tried to hide. This person was sent to you not to complete you, but to awaken you. And in doing so, they were also awakened. A soul was stirred. You see, this was never just about romance. This was an ancient agreement, a divine appointment. And nothing, not time, not doubt, not even fear, can change that. Now, something is shifting. The universe is calling both hearts to remember. Because what he felt, what you felt, was real. And the spiritual contract between you still resonates in the sacred silence. The truth? You weren't put in his life to be forgotten. You were there, to be remembered. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11. He does not resist you because he doesn't care. He resists you because he cares too much. There are things he hasn't said. Not because he doesn't want to, but because his voice trembles under the weight of what he feels. The angels say, he hides behind logic because your presence touches places he thought were safely buried. This man, this soul, carries silent bruises from past loves that did not see him. Parts of himself he had to cut away just to survive. And then you arrived, with a light so gentle it burned. You didn't force him to open up. But your energy, it crept through the cracks. It whispered, you can be seen now. And that terrified him. He built a fortress out of control, emotional distance disguised as independence. And yet, you made him feel soft, alive, vulnerable. You didn't ask for this internal struggle, but it was inevitable. Because allowing you in would mean dismantling everything he built to keep pain out. There are moments he revisits in his mind. A conversation, a glance, your laughter when you weren't trying to impress anyone. Those small moments? They undid him more than he lets on. He tells himself stories. That maybe you're too overwhelming. That he isn't ready. That it's safer to stay distant. But the truth? He's just afraid. Afraid that you see too much. That you won't just love the version he shows the world, but also the one he hides from it. So if he runs, it's not from you. It's from the risk of being truly known. And still, the angels whisper. She is not the threat. She is the healing. There is a temptation to make yourself smaller when someone cannot meet you where you are. But the angels ask, why dim your light to soothe someone's shadow? You are not here to carry his healing. You are here to protect your own flame. The angels say, she was sent not to save but to shine. You have poured from a cup that was already half empty. You waited in silence, hoping he would see, hoping he would choose. And still, part of you wonders, am I asking for too much? But what if the real question is, why have you settled for so little? You are not difficult. You are divine. Your softness is not a flaw. It is sacred. Do you remember the way you used to laugh before you started questioning your worth in someone else's absence? That version of you, the one that danced in her own presence, is still here, waiting for permission to come back. He may be on his own path, battling his timing and fears. But your soul? It needs nourishment. It needs you. Today, don't wait for him to choose you. Choose yourself. Choose peace over obsession, rest over reasoning, self-respect over silence. He will return when his soul is ready to meet yours. But until then, keep your heart open and your boundaries even wider, because the angels are clear. Your light is not meant to be earned. It is meant to be honored. And whoever is meant to walk beside you will never ask you to shrink. You showed up, and the mirror cracked. Not because you were too much, but because your presence reflected what he had long refused to see. The angels say, you were not a storm. You were the truth. There is something unsettling about being loved by someone who sees beyond the surface. You didn't just see his smile. You felt the grief beneath it. You didn't just listen to his words. You heard the hesitation he tried to hide between syllables. You became the mirror. And he flinched. Not because of who you are, but because of who he isn't ready to become. You triggered questions he's avoided for years. Am I worthy of this? Can I hold love without controlling it? Will she still want me when I stop pretending? And the answer, quietly, was always yes. But answers don't matter when someone is still addicted to their mask. So he distanced himself. Not to hurt you, but to silence what your love made too loud. The awareness, the discomfort, the invitation to evolve. He wasn't expecting you. He wasn't prepared for someone who wouldn't just validate his wounds, but demand that he confront them. He keeps his distance, because close to you, he can no longer lie to himself. You see too much. You love too deeply. You hold up a mirror that's too clear for him to ignore. But the angels remind you, that is your gift, not your burden. The mirror you offer isn't cruel. It is sacred. And one day, he may look into it without fear. At first, he thought it was just coincidence. How your name would pop up in quiet moments. How certain songs began to sting in a different way. But the angels know. Those weren't just coincidences. They were awakenings. The kind that start in silence, but echo like thunder in the soul. He is not the same man he was when he met you. Something shifted. Not because you forced him to change, but because your presence made stillness impossible. The angels whisper, she didn't ask for transformation. She became the reason it began. Lately, he's been haunted by moments he didn't value enough. Regret is peeling away the layers of his apathy. He remembers the look in your eyes when you tried to stay strong, the way you smiled even while your heart ached. And now, he aches too. The weight of what he suppressed is becoming unbearable. He's begun to wonder, what if she was the one who saw me clearly? What if she was the one I was meant to prepare for? These questions stir his nights. Not with panic, but with longing. He feels the shift. The trembling ground beneath what he used to call safety. What was once routine now feels empty. The taste of your name on his spirit no longer fades. This is not a full surrender yet, but it is the first crack in the armor. And once truth enters, it does not leave quietly. The angels want you to know, he is beginning to remember your energy not as a memory, but as a map back to himself. You felt it, didn't you? That rhythm of closeness followed by retreat. The warmth, the silence, the pull, the distance. It's not your imagination. It's his cycle. The angels say, he wants to come closer, but fear has a stronger hold than love, until it snaps. Every time he pulls away, it wounds you. Not because you need him to stay, but because you can sense he's still tied to something he can't name. And you become the space where he sees what's possible and what still terrifies him. This pattern isn't punishment. It's a dance between expansion and contraction, truth and avoidance. He touches the light within you, and then runs from how much of his own darkness it reveals. You represent something he doesn't know how to grasp. Not yet. He retreats not out of cruelty, but confusion. He convinces himself he needs time, space, and distance. And then he returns. Not because he has changed, but because the pull never left. The angels remind you, he is learning through the distance. But you must learn through your stillness. You don't need to chase what already belongs to the divine plan. His absence is not rejection. His silence is not a reflection of your inadequacy. These are just the echoes of a heart still learning how to beat without armor. One day, this cycle will break. Not because he finds the courage, but because the pain of running will finally outweigh the fear of staying. Until then, your role is not to wait. It is to remain rooted in your worth. Your love was not loud. It did not beg to be seen. It simply was, present, steady, undeniable. And the angels say, it is that kind of love that heals what silence tried to destroy. He never asked for healing, but he felt it anyway. In your gaze that held him without judgment. In your voice that softened his most defensive thoughts. In your way of listening to what he never said aloud. He felt safe. And that scared him more than chaos ever did. Because when someone has only known love as performance or pain, being held in peace can feel dangerous. But you showed him a different way. A love that asked for nothing, yet gave everything. It didn't try to fix him, only witnessed him. And that witnessing? That was the miracle. He still remembers how your presence shifted the atmosphere. How your laughter didn't ask for permission. How you allowed him to just be without minimizing yourself. That energy lingers in his bones like a familiar prayer. And now when he aches, he remembers. And when he doubts, he replays. Because what you offered wasn't fleeting affection, it was medicine. The kind that seeps in slowly, even when the mind resists. The angels whisper, she didn't heal him with effort. She healed him with essence. Even in your absence, your energy does what your hands can no longer do. It cradles. It calms. It teaches. And while he may not speak of it, he feels it. In every breath where fear softens, your love remains the remedy. The waiting has felt long. The pauses too quiet. The unanswered prayers like echoes fading into empty rooms. But the angels have been listening all along. They now say, the silence was not absence. It was alignment. There is a timing that is not yours to command. A divine rhythm that moves slower than the heart would like, but deeper than the mind can understand. You have been wondering, why hasn't it happened yet? Why does love feel so close and so far at the same time? And heaven responds, not with reasons, but with reassurance. Because this path, though invisible, has never been accidental. Every moment he turned away, every moment you chose to remain open, all of it was written in the blueprint of your souls. He is being guided. Gently, firmly, repeatedly, not by force, but by love wearing divine patience. And you are being fortified, taught the language of surrender, the art of receiving without chasing, the grace of holding space for another soul's unfolding. The angels show him standing at the edge of his resistance, his heart heavier, but softer. And behind him, a light, yours. Still shining. Still waiting, not for him, but for what's meant to rise. Heaven is not rushed. And neither is sacred love. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Habakkuk 2 verse 3. So hold still, dear soul. Not in passivity, but in trust. Because what's meant for you is already on its way. He almost said it. Not in words, but in the way his eyes softened when you looked at him that one night. In the way his voice cracked when he said he was fine. In the silence after your name left someone else's lips. The angels say, he is trying to speak with a heart that has only ever known silence as protection. He wants to love. That much is true. But love for him has always come at a price, one that demanded his power, his freedom, or his pride. So when he feels drawn to you, the child inside him panics. What if she sees the mess? What if I'm not enough? What if she leaves once she sees what I hide? And still, he stays near. Not because it's easy, but because something in you feels like home. And home has always been unfamiliar. The truth is, he's never had a safe place to lay his truth. But with you, the urge grows. He watches you hold your own pain with grace, your strength with softness, and wonders, could she do the same for mine? There will come a moment, perhaps quiet, perhaps disguised as a breakdown, when his armor falls. It won't be pretty. It won't be poetic. But it will be real. And when it comes, remember this. It's not a collapse. It's an opening. The angels say, his heart was never closed to you, only afraid. And love that holds space for fear becomes the very place fear learns how to love. Maybe he won't come back the way you imagined. Maybe the apology will never sound the way your heart rehearsed. But the angels say, what's meant for you doesn't have to look perfect to be sacred. Let go of how you thought it would unfold. Release the timelines, the conditions, the if only and what if. Because love, real love, doesn't always announce itself with grand gestures. Sometimes, it whispers in surrendered hearts, in peace after resistance, in quiet understanding after storms. You did not lose him. You were never here to possess. You were here to remember your worth, your light, your softness that never made you weak. He may still be on his path. He may take longer than you hoped. But the lesson was never about changing him, it was about choosing you. The angels are clear. You are not the abandoned. You are the chosen. Chosen to love without conditions. Chosen to release what doesn't rise with you. Chosen to walk with faith when the map disappears. And if, when he returns, let it be not because you needed him to complete you, but because you became whole without him, and he recognized the light he couldn't forget. Because that is the love that lasts. Not the one that binds, but the one that frees. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46 verse 10. This is not the end of your story. This is the part where you stop waiting and start receiving.